is Joanna Guastafero, and I'm an instructional technologist here at the Digital Futures Institute at Teachers College. My colleague Juan Cerati is an instructional support associate. He will be keeping an eye on that Q&A box on the chat. If you have any questions, he'll try to answer those. Just a little bit of housekeeping. As I say, just make sure to add those questions in the Q&A box. We'll have like a 5-minute time slot to answer any questions at the end of the webinar. All the slides and the recording will be sent to everyone that has been registered to this webinar. A little bit of a disclaimer, we may mention some AI tools on this webinar, but please make sure that you do your own research and so that you can make an informed decision of what you can use in your classroom and what fits you better. We are AI users. We are by no means experts on these issues, on these topics. Now, moving on to the agenda of today, we're going to be talking about, or we're going to explore ways on that you can talk to your students about AI in the classroom. And then we're going to move on to the Reimagining assessments section, where we are going to learn how to integrate AI into your classroom. And we'll devote some time to questions and answers at the end of the webinar. Okay, talking to your students about AI in the classroom. Now, the objectives of this section is for you to we're gonna touch base on why are AI detectors problematic if you think of using those. So we just want you to be aware of some issues. We are gonna talk about the main concerns with AI. What are the main concerns with using AI in the classroom? We are gonna be addressing some of those concerns and how can you use transparency with your students to address those issues. And we're going to talk about ethical use in the classroom and how you can draft AI expectations in the classroom. Now, I thought it's important to establish a tone for ethical AI use. I saw these 3 principles in one of the webinars I had attended a few weeks ago, and I found these 3 points very, very important that you can implement on your classroom. The first one is recognizing AI's permanence and preparing the students for a world with AI. AI is rapidly advancing and will be present in most careers and fields. It is crucial to equip students with the skills to navigate the AI-driven world, and we should emphasize the importance of developing ethical decision-making abilities and discuss the potential implications, both positive and negative, of AI integration. The second principle, the trusting your students and building a community and fostering transparency. Foster an environment of trust where students feel safe exploring AI tools, encourage open dialogue about AI strengths, limitations, and ethical concerns, promote transparency by clearly explaining how AI tools can be used in your classroom, and build a community of learners where everyone contributes to responsible AI usage. And the third one, educators as learners, embracing continuous learning alongside students. You are not expected to be an expert on the tools, so AI integration is a learning process for educators too. Model a growth mindset and willingness to learn alongside students. Solicit the student feedback and insights on AI integration experiences. Continuously refine and improve ethical AI practices based on shared learnings. Now we're moving on to the problem with AI detectors. So if you think about using this, we just want to raise a couple of problems. I'm sure there are more issues that are coming up, but these are the ones we're going to address here. Problem number 1, the detection is not reliable and tools can be easily fooled. The tools themselves claim very high accuracy rates, but can also provide you with false positives and can flag human writing as AI-generated writing. There are potential threats such as algorithm bias, so-called hallucinatory responses, and increased surveillance that could weaken privacy and protections. Problem number 2 is that this can create an environment of distrust for your students and can also open the door to teachers' bias in the classroom. I have added here the Turnitin disclaimer when using their AI detector, where they pretty much say, this tool is designed to help educators identify text that might be prepared by generated AI tool, but it also should not be the sole basis of adverse actions against the students. So it takes further scrutiny and human judgment in conjunction with an organization's application of its specific academic policies to determine whether any academic misconduct has occurred. So this shouldn't be the sole source of judging students' work. It takes more than that. So it's more a human critical thinking. The main concerns in the classroom with using AI. So three main concerns that we'll be addressing: plagiarism. Educators often ask the question, how do I know my student is cheating? So this is one of the biggest worries for instructors and students using AI. If the students are using AI to write papers for them or complete their work. Ethics is a big issue since AI gets information from a wide variety of sources. Are the original authors receiving credit? How do I ensure the work am I doing with AI is ethical? And biases and misinformation. AI is learning from what is being put into it. It can take on the biased information and problematic content being fed in. While developers try their best to combat this, there are some implicit biases that will naturally be woven in. These AI tools are getting better and better each day, and I'm sure some of these issues will be the developers are trying to address, but this is still a work in progress. I wanted to share some snips or some clips of how you can foster transparency in learning and teaching in your classroom that I wanted to share. They are very, very brief, but I thought they will be important to share. Number one is going to talk about the purpose of when you're creating an assessment, how you should always add a purpose.
When we ask teachers to be a little more transparent about academic work, all we ask them to do is to discuss with students ahead of time, before the students do the work, three aspects of the work: the purpose, the task, and the criteria. When we ask teachers to be a little more transparent about academic work, all we ask them to do is to discuss with students ahead of time, before the students do the work, three aspects of the work: the purpose, the task, and the criteria. The purpose has two parts, really. What skills will the students practice from doing this assignment? And what knowledge will they gain from working on this particular assignment? And we ask the teachers to talk with students not just about the skills and the knowledge as they pertain to that one assignment, but how does that set of skills and that piece of knowledge relate to the students' real lives?
Second one is going to talk about the task.
The next thing we ask teachers and students to talk about ahead of time, before the students start doing any work, is the task. That's fairly simple. It's just, what do the teachers expect students to do, and how should they do it? And to provide some direction about this helps students produce higher quality work because they waste less time figuring out how, and instead focusing on the task at hand.
The last one.
The last thing we want teachers and students to talk about explicitly together before the students start working is criteria. We ask for the teachers and students to come up with some sort of a checklist of expectations. But that's not enough. In addition to that, we want for students to see examples of what work looks like when it meets those expectations, and sometimes when it doesn't.
All these can be applied to the usage of AI in your classroom. These are great inspiration sources.
The next thing we ask.
Sorry.
The last thing we want teachers and students to.
And the next, we're going to be addressing these concerns. Just pretty much a summary of like what those snips of the videos that I just shared with you. Just discuss assignments, learning goals, and design rationale before students begin each assignment. Invite the class to participate in class planning, discuss with the students your expectations around them using AI in your classroom. You can also like share examples of how you want them to use AI, demonstrate how to properly use an AI tool in the classroom, talk about data privacy, intellectual property, and how to properly give credit. Create a syllabus statement that outlines your expectations. I have added here a little link with some examples of syllabus statements that I'll be sharing with you when I email this afterwards. You can just take a look at that if you need some examples. Assignments and ethical use in the classroom. You should never require students to use AI in the assignments. If you like to create an assignment in your course for the semester that will utilize technology, always make sure to provide them with alternative tech they can use. You should also never put the student work into AI tools without them knowing that you're doing so. We're going to move on to reimagining assessments section, how you can integrate AI into your classroom. So these are just some ways how AI may enhance the students' learning and assessment. They can help students personalize goal setting and resource recommendations tailored to individual needs. AI has the potential for students to move from what do I need to know, where can I find this, how can I improve this, assisting with creating and maintaining digital learning portfolios that'll showcase growth over time management support through prioritized task reminders and focus tracking, facilitating reflective learning experiences through interactive chatbots, identifying gaps of areas for improvement in student work, and offering personalized feedback on assignments and projects. In some cases, AI acts as an intelligent tutor, while in others, it's a powerful tool that the students can leverage. The key is empowering the students to take ownership of their learning journey and AI as a supportive partner. So pretty much that's just focus on telling the students to use AI as an assistant rather than, the base of generating ideas. We're going to talk about some assignment ideas that can assist with academic integrity concerns that may arise with the students using generative artificial intelligence, such as ChatGPT, Claude AI, and BART. There's so many more that are coming up too. Well, number one could be problem solving assessments. Just make sure assessments include tasks that require problem solving, creative thought, and critical thinking by your students. Number two, group projects. These are great. Have students work together in groups to produce a presentation or present information to one another. I have added a link to the DFI's group work strategy suggestions if you need some ideas of group work. Just make sure to visit that. As I said before, I will share this by the end of the webinar. Number three, research questions generation. Incorporate AI into the initial stages of the research process to empower students in crafting robust research questions that will create a strong foundation for their subsequent work, or to refine the questions they already have. Direct students to ask the AI tool to assess the effectiveness of their statement rather than ask for direct feedback. I remember, I think I attended a webinar a few weeks back, and they were using these kind of assessments for research questions, and they will have the students create an outline themselves first, and then they will insert that in ChatGPT and ask for how they can improve that outline or what they're missing. So I think that's a great way to use AI, that's AI tools, but just make sure it starts with a human idea first, and then you can refine it as you go. They can refine it as they go. Provide the students with flexible assignments. Assessment differentiation can provide the students with multiple ways of turning in an assessment. Give the students the option to write a paper, record a creative video, or give a class presentation. Allow students to embrace the way they learn to the best so that they are less likely to resort to using AI to do the work for them. I have a couple of links added on this where one it will give you like concrete suggestions of how you can add a universal design for learning guidelines to the assessment so that all the students have access to a fair learning. And the second one is device and synchronous learning activities for inspiration. And moving on, we have make your expectations clear and concise on your assignments. Make sure your students understand exactly what is expected of them in the assignment. Create a rubric of our example for students to follow. This creates a clear path of the students so that they are able to complete the assessment successfully and give the instructor exactly what they're looking for. You can also create a prompt yourself that the students can use that they can in ChatGPT, where you can tell them, I want you to use this prompt, and you ask the prompt to like give the students the feedback with your specifications on to not get feedback on certain criteria. So I think it's a great idea if you want them to use AI as well. Number 6, create authentic assessment. Create assessments that relate directly to a real world class task. This way, students are able to connect and relate to the task at hand. Some examples could be case studies, relating readings to their own life experiences, group discussions, and peer review. And 7, create assignments that challenge the students to use and also assess AI. Create opportunities for students to utilize AI in their work as well as assess the tool's abilities. You can also create a class list of ways that students can utilize AI in their work. Examples can include generating ideas when experiencing writer's block, and debugging code, improving grammar and writing structure for ESL learners, assisting in generating ideas for graphics and brainstorming ideas for various topics. So these are just some ideas that we have put together. I do have some resources that I will be sending to you all at the end of the webinar. We